El Jumbo there, everybody. My name's Shauna. I'll be your safari guide today here through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now, before we head on out, we do have to go over a couple rules. So just that one, you guys remain seated at all times, keeping your hands, arms, feet inside the vehicle, because we're going to head through some thick underbrush, and some of those have thorns on them. So even if the truck stops, you do have to remain seated. It can also get pretty bouncy out here, so you don't want to stand up anyways. And hey, if you're taking photos, totally fine. This is a photo safari. Just hold on tightly to all those devices, because if anything falls off the truck, I can't stop and pick it up. It goes for hats, glasses, cell phones, children, keys, and wallets. Hold on to them tightly. Yeah, children, it's actually an opportunity or a warning, parents, however you want to look at it. Now also, guys, have your cameras up and ready on like a sports mode, action mode, something like that, because I can't stop for every single animal. And since these are wild animals, they may not stop for us. You also never know when you're going to see one. If you look up above your head, there's an animal spotting guide up there. Those are all the animals who live here. We may not get to see every single one just because of different migration patterns, but this truck right here, the symbol one's got some pretty good luck. So I would not worry about that at all. What animals are you guys excited to see? Lions? Hippos? Zebras? All of them. There it is, right? I hope we see elephants. Those are my favorite. Well, you guys keep an eye out for anything, especially here in the Little Aturi Forest, all right? These animals do have natural camouflage, so they blend in pretty well. You want to look for bushes that are moving, horns going through bushes, anything like that. Well, actually, we're going to check out the watering hole up here. Sometimes if you're pretty lucky, you'll find a black rhino or two roaming around. Now, I am feeling pretty lucky, so let's see if there's one over here. Oh, yep. Oh, wow, he's coming up on the left. Wow, he's in a really good spot, too. Look at that guy right across the watering hole. Oh, wow. Now, we are lucky to even get a look at a black rhino, because unfortunately, they're being poached to the point of extinction. So there is less than 5,000 of them here on the planet today. Now, that's because rhinos are poached for those horns, but the horns are made of keratin. It's the same material as your fingernails. So if you've ever chewed on your fingernails, you know they have no value to them. So there is no reason to poach rhinos at all. And those numbers can be stopped because they don't have any natural predators, because they are huge, about 3,000 pounds, and they can charge at 35 miles per hour. That is the fastest charge of any animal in the world. That's why nothing messes with them except humans. We're going to swing around this way. Make sure you're looking in those bushes. Oh, yep, look up here on the left, on the hillside right here. Copper-colored antelope sitting down. That's a bongo. There's actually a couple of them up there. Bongos have a really cool nickname. It's the ghost of the forest. Yeah, as you can see, they're rarely seen or heard. Also, if you look over there on the very top of the hill, looks like a giant deer in between the trees up there. Yeah, it's actually a greater kudu, one of the largest antelope in the world. Looks like those are actually 3 females. Yeah, male kudu have horns about 6 feet long. But we're going to go ahead and make our way out of the forest and head on into Safi River. And Safi River is home to some very dangerous animals, like hippos and Nile crocodiles. Now hippos, they're going to spend most of the day underwater, so they use it like a protection from the sun. Oh, actually, listen, there's one submerged in the water up here on the right. Actually, I think there might be 2 down here. Wait. There's 2 of them. Oh, well, actually, if you look to the left, there are a whole bunch of hippos over here. A big old group of hippos. This is called a bloat. Now, they are snoozing because hippos are nocturnal. So they sleep all day underwater. What's really cool about them is that they can hold their breath about 8 minutes. So they just fall asleep underwater. And every 5 to 8 minutes, they'll pop to the top and take a breath. They don't even need to be awake for it. Look at this brave little bird standing on this hippo's back. Catching a free ride. Yeah, notice how all the hippos are on the bottom of the river? It's because they weigh about 5,500 pounds, so they can't float. They sink straight to the bottom, just like these guys.
Little baby one.
Oh, there is a little baby over there.
Little baby one.
Oh, there he is, super tiny. That is tiny for a hippo. He's actually grown a lot. He's the first hippo born on this reserve in 13 years. Yeah, he was born back in January, and he's already over 400 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't he super cute? That little guy. Does look like he's with his mom, though, and be mindful, hippos are extremely territorial, especially over their babies. So that makes them the largest and most dangerous animal here in Africa. So you're going to keep moving. Speaking of dangerous, down there on the left, there are those Nile crocodiles. They are much larger and much more aggressive than American alligators. The average size of one of these guys is about 16 feet long and 500 pounds. Just an average size.
He's sleeping with his mouth open.
Yeah, that's how they regulate their body temperature so they won't overheat, because crocodiles can't sweat. Like I said, that was their average size, but crocodiles have been known to grow about as long as a giraffe can grow tall. That's up to 20 feet at least. Oh, and actually, speaking of giraffes, we're heading to the savannah right now, home to some of Africa's most popular animals, like giraffes, elephants, and even lions. So be on the lookout for them. Oh wow, they're in the middle. And this is the best view of the savannah, also known as the Serengeti grasslands. Let's see if we can get a little closer to that giraffe down there. Oh, actually, before we get there, look to your right-hand side. You're going to see a herd of Ankole cattle over here. Those big old horns on them. Yeah, those horns are huge. They can reach between about 4 and 6 feet long. Now, they're not as heavy as you think because they have a honeycomb structure on the inside, so they circulate their blood flow and cool their body down. Those horns are basically like this AC unit on their head, so they never overheat. We're going to try and get a little closer to the giraffes as we keep moving. Giraffe. So that's a younger one there on the right. Now, I wouldn't say baby, because baby giraffes are 6 feet tall. These guys are a lot taller than that. They're actually considered full grown at the age of 3. These little guys are 2, so they are teenagers. Ooh, there's also a cave on this side. Oh, if you look straight across from us here on the left, yellow, black, and white laying down there in the shade, those are African wild dogs. All right, we're going to swing around this way and try and get a better look at them. They're laid up right against the rock wall. And there's a whole pack of them over there. See them back there in that left corner? Yeah, now the wild dogs look just like a dog. They even have dog in their name, but they're not related to them at all. Because these guys only have 4 toes. So they're not even related to hyenas. Yeah, they're actually related to the fox. And this right here is Africa's top hunter, above lions, cheetahs, and hyenas. Oh, good look at that little giraffe there on the right.
He's coming over now.
He's just staring over here. Let's see these buns along the way. Also there to the left, those are a couple of sable antelope, which are the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. So next time you check out our sign, that is the animal on it. And we're also starting to pass these really, really big mounds, like this one here on the right. And there is a huge one coming up here on the left. Anybody know what it is? Yeah, that's termite mound. It's taller than the giraffes. Termite mounds are made of 3 things, though. It's spit, dirt, and dung, so you can actually make those at home. These giraffes love them, too. Use them like a scratching post. Down here so we don't miss her face. Oh, try and get a look at her tongue. I wouldn't whistle at her. You're definitely not her type. Actually, those are really good. Like this one over here. Now, if you saw the giraffe's tongue, you saw it wasn't pink. It was a dark purple. The reason being for that is so it doesn't get sunburned. Because giraffes eat all day. About 16 to 23 and a half hours. Yeah, it's a nice little life they have. And that tongue is super long. It's 18 inches. Long enough for them to swing it around to their eyeball. Yeah, but since they eat all day, they don't have a lot of time to do anything else.
Probably, yeah.
That's why they only sleep about 30 minutes of their day. They won't even do that all at once either. They'll split it up into little tiny power naps, just about 2 minutes each. So most of the time they just kind of daze off, fall asleep, and wake right back up. Now it looks like we found a herd of white-bearded wildebeest here to the right. Super cool animal. They have the highest migration number of any animal in the world. That's why you're never going to see just one. Because these guys migrate in groups of about 1.5 million. That's a whole lot of wildebeest. Yeah, what's really cool about the wildebeest though is that once they have their baby, the baby is gonna get up and start running within 15 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes, they're ready to go. They gotta keep up with the herd or they're getting left behind. Because those guys are always moving. They travel close to 1,000 miles every year. They got places to be. Well, actually, we are gonna keep moving. I'm gonna take you guys into Monkey Point. So make sure you're looking up in between the trees and on top of the rocks. See if there's any monkeys that start to swing around anywhere. You know what? It looks like there is a knocked over tree up here. Now that's a sign of an elephant passing through. Elephants are known as the bulldozers of Africa. The only thing that can knock a tree over like this. They've got to be around here somewhere. What's actually coming up on the right is my personal favorite. This is the African bull elephant. It's a really good look at him too.
Ellie! Can you see him? Wow.
Oh yeah, over on the left there are a couple of monkeys. Those are mandrills. You guys know the most famous mandrill of all. It's Rafiki from the Lion King.
Elephants.
Now this is definitely a male elephant because he's all by himself. Yeah, the males like to isolate themselves from the rest of the herd, or after about 14 years they decide to leave. And if they don't leave, the females kick them out because 14 years is max for them. Now, don't feel bad for the males because most of the time they just go off and form a little bachelor herd. About 140 of them all together. Now I actually know this little road that gets us pretty close to him. It should be right up here on the right. Oh well, actually, looks like our road is blocked. Now luckily I read Swahili, it just says road closed. There is an old service bridge up this way though. I think it should still be here. I haven't used this bridge in a long time. It's been like 20 minutes, so it's so there. Now this is actually my favorite bridge in all of Harambe. We have to go very slow over it because we're not supposed to use it. It does this really weird thing. I actually think it's really cool. So I'll just show you guys. Everybody lean here to the left. Oh, okay. Now lean back to the right. Lean back to the right. Isn't that cool? Yeah, apparently it's not supposed to do that. But that's besides the point because it leads us straight to the red clay pits. A great spot to look for elephants because they like to eat red clay. It's how they get extra nutrients and minerals in their diet, like a vitamin. Oh yeah, if you look up on both sides, it looks like they left some tusk marks here and even footprints on the ground. They must have just passed through. Oh wow, we're here. Oh, actually, I think we'll get a better look at her without the trees in the way over here.
Quick and see one.
You can see how she's got some dirt on her back. She put that there. They wear that like a type of sunscreen on them because they have very sensitive skin. And it also cools their body off. So they've got multiple uses to all that. But another thing they do to cool off, you'll see her, she's doing it right now. They flap their ears a lot. And it's because it cools their body down up to 15 degrees when they do that. And those ears are like a really big fan on them. They cool them right off. Oh, yeah, look at that big old elephant over there. All right, we're going to try and get a better look with the trees are in the way. Oh, there's a baby elephant over there on the left. Alright, see that big tree? Looks like it's upside down. She's right over there. Looks like a little tiny rock. Little baby. Yeah, elephants are the biggest babies in the world. They weigh about 300 pounds when they're born. And that pregnancy takes them 22 months. Yeah, that's right. Pregnant nearly 2 years to have that little elephant. Now, she's got a lot of growing to do because they're the largest land animals in the world. Eventually, she could weigh up to about 13,000 pounds. So now we're going to keep moving this way, though. Looks like we actually found a flamboyance, a greater flamingos down here on your left.
Oh, wow.
See how they look more white than they are pink? It's because they're the lightest shade of pink flamingo in their species. But greater flamingos are also the largest. These guys stand up to about 5 feet tall. They are huge. Oh, also, before we leave this island, all right, if you look at it, doesn't it look just like Mickey? Like that whole island?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? It just formed like that all by itself here in Africa. Now we're going to keep moving though. We're actually going to head into East Savannah, so we'll see what's warming around in here. Looks like there's a big old mud hole. We might run into some rhinos. Rhinos love rolling around in the mud. It's how they cool their body off. It gets very hot here around Africa. And they wear like sunscreen. It's just like those elephants. They have the same sensitive skin. It looks like they've rubbed up on some of the trees and rocks over here, and we're heading this way, so we'll keep moving up here. Now, while we are looking for rhinos, what we're looking for is a white rhino, which is much larger than the black rhino we saw at the beginning. They weigh about 5,000 pounds, so they're very hard to miss. Oh, actually up there on the right. We just stood up. Oh, there's a couple of them up there. Yeah, a group of rhinos, that's called a crash. But a crash has about 5 or 6 of them in it, so there's probably some more roaming around somewhere. Yeah, see those ears moving? They have very sensitive hearing. They're also extremely dependent on it because you see they have those wide set eyes. Rhinos can only see up to 10 feet in front of them. So they kind of just run blind, which is terrifying because they have the fastest charge of any animal and they don't even know where they're going. They just kind of take off running for the best. And you know what? Speaking of fast, there is a cheetah up here on the left. There's actually 2 of them. Look all the way up here in this front left corner in between the trees. There's one laying down right there and then right behind her. Looks like a yellow log. Oh, she's starting to move. All the way up in the front left corner. Now this is the fastest land animal in the world. Cheetahs can go 0 to 60 in just 3 seconds. They can do that because they have these non-retractable claws, so those claws are out all the time. It's kind of like they're wearing cleats all day. They're actually the only big cats that purr, like a house cat. And they don't have a roar at all. Oh, and speaking of big cats, we are up to the Kopi rocks, which are these really big rock formations coming up out of the ground. Lions like to use these like a vantage point to stalk their prey. Let's see if they're roaming around over here. Now, lions are extremely nocturnal. Oh, yep, they're on the left. He's sleeping on the rock.
Oh, he is up on the rock.
Yeah, they sleep about 20 hours every single day. Now, tonight, the lioness, she'll come out and do all the hunting. This male, he's going to stay here. He's got to protect the territory and their cubs. So the way they're going to communicate is with their roars. And those lion roars can be heard up to 5 miles away. Yeah, you're probably going to hear it today and not even realize it, because it doesn't sound like the one in the movies. Those are tiger roars. Don't worry, I saw those zebras. We're going to get them look at them. We're going to try and get a better look at this lioness. You see her up on the very top of the rock here? She is snoozing. Yeah, the male lions, they have those beautiful manes. As fashionable as they are, they use them like protection because that lion's mane can weigh up to about 85 pounds. Just his mane. That full-grown lion is about 500. Look down here on the left. There are 2 warthogs straight across from us. You see where the tree is? The knocked over tree right to the left of it. They look like little fuzzy rocks right there. This tree that's right in the middle of the habitat, right to the left. They're on the ground. 2 little warthogs snoozing over there. We're going to get up this way because we're going to get pretty close to these zebras in just a second. And I know, the zebras, they're playing it real close, hanging out by lion territory. Don't worry about them though. They've got the power in their hind kick to break a lion's jaw. That zebra just snoozing over there. Yeah, a couple more of those white rhinos up there in between the trees over there too. Oh, and these eggs here on the ground, on the right hand side, those are ostrich eggs. Yeah, those eggs are huge. They can weigh up to about 4 pounds each. And what's really impressive is that those eggs, they're so durable, you could stand on them and they wouldn't even crack. But I wouldn't do that because the ostrich can run 40 miles per hour and hold that speed about 30 minutes. So they run it super fast for a long time. Now we're going to go ahead and take a short little drive through Magadi Glen. This is the last part of the reserve. So we'll see what's hanging out here before we head on back. Yellow-billed stork are right up here on your right. The 2 white birds sitting on top of the rock. I know. They don't look like much, but they are savages. They eat anything they can catch. Frogs, snakes, lizards, other small birds, whatever fits the bill. And if you look down that little pathway there on your right, it's that antelope. Excuse me. That antelope sitting down there in the shade. That is a scimitar horned oryx. Now he is very shy, so he'll probably be there all day. But the oryx is a really cool animal. They can go about 9 months without a sip of water. And that's because they get all the water they need from the vegetation they eat throughout the day. But the best part about the oryx is that they were recently just reintroduced back into the wild just last year. Because they were on the point of extinction and finally got their numbers back up. And that's all done with conservation. So if you guys want to be a part of that and help saving these animals and their habitats, you can always donate to the Disney Conservation Fund in any of the merchandise locations or food and beverage. And when you do that, Disney will give you a little thank you gift for your contribution. Now also guys, make sure you come back and ride again because no 2 safaris are ever the same. The animals make sure of it every single time. So you never know what you're gonna see or what you're gonna hear. Now if you're upset you didn't get to see tigers, it's because you're on the wrong continent, my friend. Tigers do live over in Asia. But now that we are almost back to the dock, just double check your rows, make sure nothing fell out of your pockets or bags along the way. I need for you to get all the way to your car and realize your keys are here in Africa. It is a long walk back here. Now over here in Harambe, we don't like to say goodbye. So instead I'll leave you with Kwaherini, which is an old Swahili phrase. It means to go well. So Kwaherini everybody, go well and go wild. Jumbo Wardens. Oh, already.